and I joined SFM on September the 10th, 2016. So fairly new in the journey. And what I was originally going to talk about, and I still want to sort of stick to the same subject, I think, was this starting point when we come into the SFM or start anything in business, right? We'll often look at people like the lifestyle team, for example, who are doing 200k months, and it's almost like it's unrelatable when we're starting. So what I wanted to do was really share some of my journey and how I've sort of started in this first 6 or 7 months, and be like a bit of a bridge, a bit of a sort of stepping stone for anyone else that's starting, maybe feels a bit overwhelmed and is in that position where you're looking at the people that are really, really succeeding and thinking, how on earth am I going to get to that level, right? Because I think that for me was one of my biggest challenges, was sort of seeing the path, if you like. So one of the things that I wanted to focus on is, and I'm sort of thinking in my mind of how deep I'm going to go into this, because we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I'll cut you off.
Awesome.
You've got all the time you need.
I look forward to it.
I can't cut those guys off.
Give it a go. But thanks, Kat. But yes, so one of the key things for me when I was coming into this journey was really self-image, right? How you see yourself, how you perceive yourself. And when we start, we often have a certain level on our self-image of what we see as possible for ourselves. And that can really hold us back a lot of the time. And so one of the main things that is important, especially early on, is to really start overcoming those challenges, overcoming fear, facing overwhelm, and basically taking action in the face of the difficult challenges that are going to come up. So one of the things that I wanted to share, which I touched on in Brisbane as well, is this little trick that I use whenever I'm facing a really challenging situation, and I know that I need to do something, but I'm kind of talking myself out of doing it. And normally what's happening there is fear is basically the little voice in my head that's trying to make me not do the thing that I need to do. Because ironically, the thing that we fear the most, generally speaking, is going to be what we need to do to get to where we want to get to. And without going into too much detail because of time, essentially what's happening is your self-image is basically dictating your behaviour, and the self-image communicates in feelings, right? So when we feel fear, when we feel anxiety, when we feel overwhelm and that kind of thing, it's the self-image communicating to us to keep us in our comfort zone, to keep us in our little box of safety, right? And so, for example, if we're fearing, shooting video on, in marketing, for example, and that's the thing that we fear the most, the reason that we generally fear it the most is because that's the thing that's going to drive us closest to our goal. So our self-image starts talking to us, trying to stop us doing it. And a really useful tip that I've used is I'll say to myself, what would I do if I were 10 times bolder? Right? What would I do if I were 10 times bolder? And what this does is it forces that little voice in your head to stop talking and just shut up for a minute. And then you can see the challenge that you're facing for what it really is. And all that's normally happening is all the excuses, all the the stories that we're serving ourselves as to why we think we can't do the thing. It's literally just stories. That's all it is. You ask yourself, what would I do if I were 10 times bolder? And it shows you that it's nothing more than fear holding you back. Because when you ask that question, you go, okay, well, if I was 10 times bolder, I'd just go out right now, I'd shoot a video, I'd get it done, wouldn't worry about it, it'll be fine. And as soon as you have that realisation in any challenge, you realise it's just fear, the only thing then that you have left to do is to take action. And I will say in my head, just do it, 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 until I piss myself off so much from saying it that I just take action and do it, right? And that's one of the single biggest things that we can do, because the way I see it is you can take action on something now that you need to do, or you can procrastinate for 3 weeks but then have to do it anyway, because there's no shortcut. You can't not do the thing that's going to get you there. You've got to do it at some point, so you might as well do it today, and then tomorrow you can face the next challenge, and then the next challenge, and then the next challenge. So really that has been one of the biggest mindset things that I've just really embodied in the last 6 or 7 months. And it's ended up resulting in, so mid-March I actually touched 4th on the leaderboard for most apps, which was really cool.
Beautiful.
Cheers. And a lot of it was down to that sort of commitment to just take action. And the thing with it is, like, you're gonna feel fear in these situations, and what happens is as soon as you push it and you really like go outside of your comfort zone, like in Brisbane, I put my hand up when Alex said same sort of thing as this time, would anyone like to come up on stage, and Gav came up on stage and said a few bits, and it's the same thing for me in Brisbane. No idea what I was going to say, but I just thought, what would I do if I was 10-side bowler? I put my hand up. I had a girl called Sophie Durham was jabbing me in the side because she knew that this was my philosophy. So I'm like, God damn it, right, put my hand up. Shit, as soon as it did it, obviously instantly regretted it. But it meant that I then had the courage to be able to ask for this to happen, because I made that one little step in Brisbane. It's the same in our business, right? Every time that we take those steps, we overcome those challenges, we can push ourselves to the next level, right? And then as we grow and as we move on, funnily enough, our results start to mirror what we're doing. So off the back of that, there's what I'm going to try and share this without a slide. How long have we got, by the way? 5 minutes? 5 minutes?
You got it.
5 minutes. Thanks, man. So I wanted to share, and this is kind of the end of what I wanted to go through, but I wanted to share almost like a strategy that if you live by it in your everyday, your day-to-day activities, it's not, I'm not going to say it's like a key for success, but it's basically almost like a map that you can use to dictate your day-to-day behaviour, right? And what I mean by that is we'll have our goals, so we'll set like, you know, what we want to achieve, whether it's, I don't know, 100k per year by 12 months time, or whatever the goal is. And it's often tricky to kind of mirror the day-to-day activities, the things that we're actually doing each day, and make sure that it is the things that are going to get us towards that goal. So I'll explain what I mean, right? So if you had a goal of to get 100k income in 12 months time from SFM, if you can then work out what steps, and you work backwards, you know, what steps would I need to take to get to that goal, or to get from that goal to where I'm now, right? And what then happens is when you're looking at it in this way, you're able to see the sort of full picture, the full big picture, right? And then as you basically work out those steps, you get right back to what I could do right now in this moment. What's the one thing that I could do right now and take action on that's going to put me on that path? And once you can see that, you literally just focus on nothing more than that thing. So you zoom like from out here right to there. Right. So it's macro, micro, that's what it's called. So you look at the macro, you look at the big picture, you zoom in to the micro, and nothing else in the world matters. Block out everything else, right? And when you can do that and then take action, what would you do if you're 10 times bolder on that single one thing? And it's amazing how much progress you make quickly. You can kind of, like, you reach this point where you almost look back behind you and you think, Jesus, how did I achieve all of that in that time? You don't even realise when you're in, you know, in the day-to-day sort of working as you're going through this process. But when you can look back and you can see the progress that you've made, it's like, it is incredible and staggering. Sort of how far you can go quickly by taking this philosophy. So that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to finish on.
Dan Holloway.
Yay!
He had, am I still, there we go. The, how much time did you have, how much time did you know that you didn't think you were going to do that, would you?
No, so I had about probably, 20 seconds?
20 seconds. It's
Just
there.
right.
It's there. And I'm doing this to remind him
Thank you.
of how we see you, and that it's all there. You don't just keep showing up. When did you start again?
10th of September 2016.
Does that seem like so far long ago?
No.
No. The transformation in this incredible guy, in that far transit, what's happened with him up here, worth way more and what he's doing in his business right now. Would you concur?
100%. I can't remember who I was having this conversation with, but I was saying to someone, if I had a choice between setting up like some quick win business scheme that earned me 100 grand in 3 months or whatever versus the journey that I've gone through, but the mindset changes that I've gone through in SFM, I choose the mindset every single day of the week, because that's going to be with me for the rest of my life. Like 100 grand is, obviously it's a lot of money, I'm not saying it's not, but it's not really going to bring me fulfillment or happiness or, help me in the big picture.
Can you tell the growth that, Stuart talked about growth, how committed and passionate he is about the growth at every level? And isn't that inspiring?
Yep.
And it just so happens, I think he embodies a lot of what Stuart was talking about at the different levels. And you've earned the right to be here. So one more round of applause for Dan. Okay, here's what we're going to do now. We have 35 minutes. I want to introduce you all. You may or may
Dan
not
Holloway,
know that.
yeah. Oh no.
What's that?
Dan Holloway, yeah. Oh no. He's going again.
Mark, do something about this guy. Ladies first. Amy Taylor. If you don't know who she is, you will. Amy, come on up here. And then I'll set the stage. And then Martin and Christian Beer, come on up here. You guys have seen these names all across the leaderboard. We got people all around the world. You guys share the mic? Okay, here are the rules of the game.